Hello, and welcome to the Voice of Rio Grande. I'm your host for today, Craig Klein, and I am the Dean of Community College Program at Rio Grande Community College in, where else? Rio Grande. My guest today is Mr. Keith Saunders. He's an Assistant Professor of Electronics and Industrial Technologies here at the school. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Klein. Pleasure to be here today.
Nice to have you. Our discussion today is how the college responds to regional industry and manufacturing needs. So I look forward to learning a great deal about how people in the community approach us and how we provide things for the community in terms of particular workforce development.
Be a pleasure to discuss those things with you here today.
Good. So I'd like to begin by the usual thing. Please tell us a little bit about yourself. I understand you have a fairly extensive history with the school.
Yes. Like a lot of our students in the region, I grew up here, had a desire to stay in the area, went to school here and started in 1979, went to Guy Academy High School. At that time, our Davis Career Center, our technical center, was brand new, built around 1978. Classes started there about that time period. So it was a brand new facility. Interestingly enough, we are renovating portions of the building right now. That's getting ready to be a new allied health simulation center. So what's old is new here on Rio's campus.
When you say simulation center, you mean simulation of what?
Well, I teach a robotics class, and to me they are human patient simulations that are robotic humanoids, for sort of a term, that the nursing and allied health students can perform experiments with.
Okay, so exceptionally animated mannequins?
Yes.
Okay.
I am much more comfortable working on medium to large industrial robots that you might find out in the manufacturing world. Local manufacturers in the region here have quite a few robotics installed. Okay. We have some large robotics in our classrooms here that we use as part of the class.
So were those things here when you were a student?
No, certainly not. Technology changes rapidly. Most of our industry in here, they will change their controls every 5 to 7 years. It can be challenging to stay current in our technology. Right now we are current. I have brand new program controllers, thanks to Community College supporting us and local levies in the region, and interest from local manufacturers that support us also. We are fortunate right now to have brand new equipment and current equipment.
That's wonderful.
Which is important in technology and engineering.
Okay. So what specifically do you teach?
I'm Chair of Engineering Technologies and also an assistant professor in the area. I teach in industrial automation and maintenance is my program. We're turning out support technicians for local manufacturing such as Toyota, Kenworth, the power plants, GK and Galpolis, Electrocraft, all of our local manufacturers. People will tell me we're in the middle of nowhere. But if you really look and drew about an hour transit time around here, there's several large manufacturers within the region. Kenworth Truck, over 2,000 employees. We're a little over an hour away from the world's largest jet engine test facility, General Electric in Peebles, Ohio. Toyota Motor Manufacturing, we're 35 minutes away or so from those folks. So we are maybe in the middle of nowhere, but in terms of manufacturing, we're not in the middle of nowhere. If you have the right skill set,
you're in the right place.
Yes, you are in the right place in terms of employment right now.
So how do you find out what a collection of industries as diverse as those that you just mentioned, everything from jet engines to semi-trucks? How do you find out what these people need in terms of training and what kind of skill set they're looking for? You go and visit them?
We do go out and visit them. We have an advisory committee in which we have manufacturers in the region that are members. We listen to their wants and needs. We try to accommodate everybody as much as possible and still meet state of Ohio guidelines while doing that. Okay. And presenting a good value to students for their education dollars spent.
Very good. So do they come here at any point in time?
Yes, we do have manufacturers visit our campus. They will donate us equipment. I have feedback from graduates since I've been here a long time. I have graduates who are now supervisors that are looking for certain skill sets to hire. They will donate us equipment if they think it's relevant to use at our facility.
So it's kind of a hallmark of the modern age is that these manufacturing and industrial facilities are significantly, if not highly, automated?
Yes, and increasingly so. Many of the local companies here, they use what are called program controllers. They're just an industrial computer that controls machinery in terms of sequences and timing and turning things on and off. All of the manufacturers in the region that you could think of are using program controllers in all of their facilities. There's a lot of commonality amongst the equipment, even if the brands are different. We use a particular brand in our courses here, which is the most commonly used brand of equipment in the region. So we have our ear to what manufacturers are currently using and what we think they're going to be wanting for a skill set in the future.
Okay, so when we have students take our programs and get their certificates and their associate's degrees, then they would be broadly classed as industrial technologists or industrial technicians?
Yes, we have graduates there. Their titles vary quite a bit.
Okay.
They could be a maintenance technician, they could be an engineering technician. Some of them have titles of engineering. We can also turn our two-year degree, all of our two-year technical degrees, and I forgot to mention there earlier that as Chair of Engineering Technologies, we offer programs in fine woodworking, computer science, welding, as well as industrial automation and maintenance, which happens to be my area. Okay. But we're developing a fairly broad set of skills that could work in lots of industries in the region, be it power plant or Kenworth truck or maybe some of the food production manufacturing facilities in the region. The skill set they're looking for is, for the most part, universal. Some are looking for specific things, but we hit most of them.
I think it's amazing that we have as diverse an array as fine woodworking to computer science to this industrial automation kinds of things. So, and all of that's available here.
Yes, at very affordable rates.
Very good.
Through the community college.
Okay. We're going to take a look right now at some pictures of students in classes. So as these go by, let's talk about this first one here. What is this person doing?
This is a student, a second-year student in my industrial automation maintenance program. He's in an electrical troubleshooting course, and we like real-world projects. So we were fortunate enough to have a real-world project to work on here this semester. We have a somewhat automated welding ventilation system, and it has a filter array bank. And what Isaiah is doing there is he is installing the connections to some solenoid valves that are being controlled by a computer that blow a reverse airflow. Not that everybody's interested in technical details, but the filters are self-cleaning, and he's wiring up the controls to make that happen.
All right, so these big gray cables that we see, are those actually power cables?
Those would be low voltage electrical connections, yes. He's connecting the control. They're using air pressure to blow the filters out and clean them.
Very good. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. Okay, and what's this fellow doing?
He is in program controllers class. He's using a Allen Bradley program controller that's in the two blue cases behind him there. He's using a piece of software that's called Studio 5000, and he's creating programs that's going to control machinery, turn things on and off when we want them to occur. So essentially, he's going to be a guy that probably would get a job that would support manufacturing and keep equipment running and troubleshooting it.
All right, and while we have let's go on to this one. And while we have these up, what is really the advantage of having these things done automatically as opposed to having human beings actually tend to them one-on-one?
Well, one of the things I tell my industrial automation maintenance students and engineering students in general is to stay competitive, you always have to improve. And the Japanese word there is kaizen. And I always ask students if they've heard of that word before. That's the idea of continuous improvement. So if you're not always continuously improving, then somebody else is, and you will not be competitive soon. So you have to automate, which means you either have to have more employees and make more product, or the same number of employees and make more product. So automation is going to occur. Whether we want to or not, it will occur. The key I get to my students is, if we're the folks working on the automation, then probably our jobs are not going to get automated.
Okay.
So we hope so.
So are we looking at automation in this particular picture?
This is a couple of robots that were donated by a local manufacturer, and we've turned them into essentially the world's most expensive pop can crusher, in which these two robots...
Oh, we have to support recycling, right?
We are recycling. In fact, our students there could probably tell you those could crush 200 and some cans per minute,
Okay.
or 200 some pop cans in a given amount of time, and automatically load them in a box for you. But the students installed those, did the wiring, wrote the programs, and had to make it work. Again,
Yeah,
I like real world projects. This one's not so real world, but it is real world in that we are using not educational training robots, but real world robots and real pieces of equipment that were integrated together by our students. And so it's part of our robotics class.
Yeah, real quick, while this picture is still up, well, that one's still up. What's the scale on these? How tall are these objects?
They're about the size of a person.
Really?
They're
Okay.
capable of about 20-pound payload. So semi-dangerous.
Okay.
We do have to talk about safety and just make sure that we're safe with them and that we are not in the robot's work envelope while it's energized.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you to tell us about how we take our instruction off campus, because you have a lot of experience over some period of time. And how has this evolved over time?
Okay. Besides our normal for credit courses we offer, we also do custom industrial training. A company may say we need some training in program controllers or industrial controls. And we've done that successfully for several years. We've been doing more of it in the last few years than we have in the past. I think, again, it's related to increased automation. And the skill set, the learning curve, the local manufacturers tell us that there is quite a bit of a learning curve if they hire what would be a good person off of the street that's willing to learn and has a fairly good background. But if they don't have a background in automation, there's a big learning curve there that might take a couple, 3 years to get to where the company is comfortable with and working on equipment that's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. So if we can provide a base knowledge in our courses and in some off-campus training that we would do for local industry, we're shortening that learning curve so that they're more productive sooner and quicker.
So we're able to supplement that which they already do and introduce potential employees
Yes.
to concepts that they're not really set up to be able to teach and train on.
Yes.
So we provide that service to them
Yes.
in addition to what they themselves do.
In the past, sometimes we held some specialty courses here. Sometimes we went off campus to the manufacturer's facility. We're currently running a course on Tuesday afternoon evenings up at Kenworth Truck in Chillicothe, Ohio. I have some production, typical example, I have some production employees. They're good employees. They have a history with the company. They want to stay in the region. Company wants them to stay in the region. They just need to know more about some automation that's probably going to happen soon in their facility. So we're offering our full industrial automation degree there. That one's a new one for us, the first time we've done that. So we're running a full degree available off campus. They take about half classroom classes and about half classes online.
Okay. And how long is that? How long is the cycle to finish a degree?
That's going to take well, with that approach, that's going to take 3 years. So it's a pretty good dedication. Our other degrees are...
Well, they are working full-time after all.
They are working full-time. They actually take the courses after they put in a full shift, full day's work.
And they're taking their courses there on-site in this example at Kenworth and Chillicothe?
Yes, they are taking their courses in the training center at Kenworth Truck on-site.
Very
So
good.
it's very convenient for their employees. And we offer the courses at times that are convenient after their shift.
All right. So when you start a group of people, then that group of people will stay together through the course of all their instruction until they finish.
Some of the support courses, some of the general education courses, they don't all take the same ones at the same time, but for the most part they are.
Okay.
They do help each other out. It's nice to have a cohort group so they can discuss things that they're working on their courses together.
So just to get clear about something, if I'm someone who's watching this and I'm thinking, you know, I might like industrial automation, or at least I'm curious about this, I wonder if I might be what the Kenworths of the world might like for an employee. Is there opportunity for me to come in to Rio and start, without already working in an existing facility, can I come in as a brand new student and study these same things?
Yes.
Okay.
We are an open admission school. Some courses have some prerequisites, but our industrial automation program, you can start the program without any background in the field. And small steps, it's a small step progression all the way through.
Okay.
And I would say probably 50 to 60% of our students that we have out there successfully employed in the field did not have a background in the field before they started. They may have had an inclination that they had interest, but
so without getting into specific detail, one can make a comfortable living and do well.
Yes.
Full benefits, that sort of thing, after completing essentially a 2 to 3 year course of study.
Currently, wages and employment opportunities in the region are probably about the best I have seen in quite a long time. The demand for industrial automation technicians is high right now. There's quite a bit of competition for graduates from the program. So there are probably more jobs than graduates right now. So I need more students.
Okay, you've heard it. We're going to take a look at some more pictures here and discuss what we're seeing.
This is a small training robot compared to the other robots we saw. This is part of a work cell that was built through about the course of 2 robotics classes in which we use some program controllers, some robotics. They're integrated together. We also talk about vision systems. There's a crude vision system in the background there, in which we use cameras and automation to dimensionally inspect parts and make sure that they were manufactured correctly.
All right, and the scale of this is what it appears to be. It's not, the object is not 20 feet in the background. It's actually much bigger.
The robot there is a 2-pound payload robot, so he is much safer than our large robot we have.
Okay, and the device that you're holding in your hand is looks like a calculator.
That's a teach pendant for a robot. That is a handheld programming device that you would use to manipulate and put a program into the robot. If you did not have a computer and piece of software there. So there's most robots you can program a couple different ways.
Okay, so moving from that controller, it goes into a PC or something that serves that purpose, and then it goes to the robot?
There's a personal computer there with a piece of software that we can create programs with in what you would consider to be an offline fashion. If you were going to, on a larger robot, need to manipulate the robot and be there where it's at so you can see precisely what it's doing, you would normally use that teach pendant and carry it with you. Also for safety, that has an emergency stop on it, so if you're going to be in the area robot when it's operational, you want to have that dead man safety switch with you.
So when I'm in a large, I understand that. Being in a large manufacturing facility, would one person be looking at not just one of those, but a whole array of those things in a large physical space?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a manufacturer in the region here that's building transportation-related equipment, and they might have 15 or 16 robots that are part of an assembly cell.
Okay, and one person can oversee that many? More or less?
More or less. It depends. Robots are very reliable, so they will usually run several years, several thousand hours without a lot of work done to the robot. Where the industrial automation technician comes in, it's all the auxiliary equipment that hooks up to this assembly cell. Safety switches, proximity switches, it's all the auxiliary equipment with all the hundreds of connections of the potential problem points that's going to require the technician. And those are the jobs that are hard to automate. So they're the jobs that should be in the future still safe.
They'll be safe. That's a good thing. Let's take a look at some more pictures real quick. We've recognized this fellow.
It's Isaiah again. He is now at program controller station there, and he is hard at work programming, writing a program with a piece of software. He's using a personal computer, and he's trying to figure out how to remotely start a electric motor over an Internet Ethernet connection, and simulating a manufacturing process.
I've got to ask, since there's such a wonderful array of stuff sitting on shelves and and kind of everywhere in the picture. What is all this stuff?
Okay, we have on the bench there's some standard test equipment. That would be multimeters, oscilloscopes. Now, being the end of this semester in the background, we have accumulated a lot of things this semester that have supported the many fun projects we've been working on. So, since we have a week to go, week and a half or so of classes, we'll probably take a day and do some cleaning there.
Okay.
But
very good.
We have worked on a wide variety of fun projects with the students this semester.
Okay, let's take a look at another shot. Okay, oh, here we go.
This is an industrial controls class.
Okay.
Some students there are using a multimeter to check a component. I'm probably somewhere there in the background.
So what is this device that they're looking at? Is that the same thing that you had your hand on in another picture?
No, no, that's a handheld multimeter that you would be using to check wires and fuses and switches and take voltage and current measurements. They're probably checking a fuse, I think, in that picture.
Okay, very good. And last but not least, here's the big shot of that room.
Same classroom.
Okay. So how many students are in these classes typically?
Our class sizes are typically somewhere around 7 or 8 up to maybe 15 to maybe 20. So I know you, you know me, and it's a very comfortable environment to ask questions. I don't set out in my classes every day to say, today we're going to learn this no matter what.
Okay.
I much rather prefer that we're going to learn this because it's important. And if it takes a few extra minutes to learn this, or you have more questions to ask about it that I didn't foresee, we will slow down and take the time to make sure you understand. We have the internet for support on a lot of our real-world equipment, so we can find a lot of support out there on YouTube and manufacturers' websites that will shorten our learning curve on some pieces of equipment.
That's terrific. Good. Thank you. So, latest contacts, initiatives. I understand we may have opportunity to have yet more industrial technicians.
Yes.
For our region, that may be coming in the near future.
Yes. With our new Jackson Center location up there, we have a lot more space. So there are some manufacturers in the region that we're currently in talks with in which we may offer a concentrated some concentrated coursework that's coming out of our industrial automation area that would be supporting a focus certificate along those lines.
Good. So not only are the opportunities steady and the prospects good, they're actually expanding.
Yes.
Okay,
there is a large tissue paper factory that's being built in Circleville, Ohio that's supposed to be operational in 2018. It will be fully automated, so there should be several good automation technician jobs there.
Perfect.
As well.
That's terrific. So a real quick recap. We have industrial, obviously we have electronics, industrial technologies, which is these days leaning more and more toward the automation side of things.
Yes.
And one gets a certificate or a 2-year degree or either?
We have a 2-year degree in industrial automation and maintenance. We're not currently offering a certificate in it, but it's in the works. Okay. So we should have that soon.
That's a good thing. And anything else we should know quickly before we go? That
our classes here are very approachable. When I go off campus, people are very apprehensive. I've never been a college student. I don't know if I can do it. And I'm here to tell you, being here for 31 years, that yes, you can do it, and it's affordable to do it here if you're in the community college. And we can turn these into really an affordable 4-year degree through the private university as well.
That's terrific. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Appreciate it, and we'd like to thank you for watching as well. I'm Craig Klein, Dean of Community College Programming here at Rio Grande Community College. And on behalf of our production crew of Mike Thompson and Patrick Dingle, thank you for joining us. Bye.